Hello and welcome to The United Stand. This is your Manchester United transfer news daily where we talk about all the latest Manchester United transfer news and give it that real fan opinion. Really excited. It's Monday morning, which means you've always got loads and loads to discuss from the weekend. And I like the Monday morning show, and there is loads to talk about as well as a very exciting potential youth signing, which is something we'll talk about in a moment. Daniel Adshead, if you've ever heard of him. But let's start off with Alex Sandro. Mixed stories about Alex Sandro this morning, to be honest with you. Yesterday evening, I think the Times were reporting that Manchester United are going to are not going to focus on a left back anymore because Jose Mourinho feels Ashley Young's good enough to be the left back. Title gone, Jose gone. If that's true, sorry, I back Mourinho, but you're gone, mate. If you think Ashley Young's our left back next season, you've lost it. You're not the special one anymore. You're gone. You're finished. But there is some positivity about Alex Sandro, and I'm going to cling to that positivity. And that is that Italian reports are saying that Juventus are looking at Porto left back Alex Telles, who is obviously seen as a like-for-like replacement for Alex Sandro. So if that deal was to happen, then Sandro leaves. Well, obviously PSG are still in the equation, but you would hope that Manchester United are in the equation as well. I mean, as I keep saying, maybe we aren't going to sign him. Maybe we are. We've certainly been interested in him. There's been a lot of talk about personal terms agreed. So I'm going to believe that we're signing Sandro until we don't sign him. But the fact is, if he doesn't sign Sandro and he sticks with Young, I mean, I like Luke Shaw, but it'll always be Young. Forget it. The manager's finished. He really is. That's my opinion. You might think differently, but there we go. Now, part of what the Times were saying, and the Daily Mail and a couple of others were saying over the weekend, is that Manchester United are looking to bring in Harry Maguire. Now, I like Harry Maguire, not because he had a good World Cup, but he did, but also because he played very well for Leicester. But he's only been there a year. Leicester City signed him for £17 million a year ago. The sort of fee that they would want is around £60 million. I mean, it's not. I mean, I'll have some of that. Something where you can more than triple the value of something in 12 months. So if that's something that Manchester United look at, great. But for £60 million, I think you'd probably get Alderweireld from Spurs as well. And it goes back to what we were talking about last week. What would you prefer, Alderweireld or Harry Maguire? Now, I probably would go for Harry Maguire, as I said last week, because he's 25, Alderweireld's 29. I think there's very little between the two players, but I understand that a lot of United fans, and I don't know what you think, would go for Alderweireld because he's more experienced, he's played more high-end football. The reality is Manchester United need a centre-back partnership that's going to play week in, week out, and the left-sided centre-back, I think, is the one that Mourinho is concerned about the most. Bay and Smalling normally plays the right-sided centre-back, and he's got Lindelof or Jones mainly playing at left-sided centre-back. So that's why Harry Maguire would be a good signing for me, because he plays left-sided centre-back, whereas Alderweireld tends to play more to the right. But either of them would be more than welcome if it means Phil Jones not playing games. I cannot for the life of me understand how he's still a Manchester United player. I don't see what the future is. He's always injured and he always makes mistakes. He'd be the first player I'd get rid of. And you know, that's being ruthless. It's nothing against, like I say, I'd sell Fellaini straight away as well. I don't know these people. I'm sure they're really good, nice people, and nothing against them at all. But when you're managing a football club and you want to be a Premier League title winner, you've got to be ruthless. And if someone's not good enough, you get rid of them. Same for Young, should not be our left back. Let's have a quick chat about Woodward. He is out in America. This was in the Manchester Evening News. He was out for the Club America game. Mourinho obviously saying last week that he has got no idea about transfers, which I think we all agree was probably just feeding the press something where they couldn't have a go back at him, which is very clever for Mourinho, because if he said, I know who we're looking at, and then we don't get them, he looks bad. And if he says we're not getting anyone, then obviously that causes an uproar. So if he says, I don't know what's going on, it doesn't go either way. But Woodward and Mourinho will have had discussions over the last few days. Woodward's not expected to be out there for the whole tour, which is interesting because Alex Sandro is flying out with Juventus to the US tour. So we've still got Darmian. Maybe something can happen around that. But look, Manchester United are going to do some business over the next 2-3 weeks. 2 weeks on Thursday, by the way, so 2.5 weeks. It's running down very fast, isn't it, that transfer clock? But Manchester United will do some business. What it will be, as I said on Saturday night, it's fascinating because nobody really knows. The reality is, if you add up everything together, it's probably Sandro is the most obvious one you'd go with that Manchester United are looking at. And on the weekend, there was some reports from Italy that Sandro to Manchester United is more likely than PSG. But United have got to go through with that deal, haven't they? And I mean, I just hope there's no truth that we're pulling out of that deal. We pulled out of Perisic last year and that cost us. If we pull out of Sandro, you know, we're definitely going to be looking at that next season saying, why didn't we do it? They've got to do that deal. Deal with the fact that you've got Young, Shaw and Sandro once you've got Sandro. But the reality is, we need a top-class left-back, definitely. Milinkovic-Savic, I did mention him over the weekend, saying it's gone very quiet around him. And just watch, keep an eye on it, because United were always interested in Milinkovic-Savic. but maybe Real Madrid will be in for him. Over the weekend, Juventus apparently backing in for him. Tutto Sport. I mean, what a summer Juventus are having. Ronaldo, they're backing for Milinkovic-Savic. Now, people will say, well, how do they afford that? But they're going to make some money. Pjanic is available. Talk of him going to Barcelona or Chelsea. Sandro obviously leaves. That will raise them well over £100 million anyway. So I think what they've done with Ronaldo is they've spent their budget on him. But Milinkovic-Savic, they can probably generate the money to bring him in. But it just shows you what a bit of ambition can go at a big club. I mean, Juventus are obviously going for the Champions League. They've won Serie A numerous times in the last few years. They're going for the Champions League, and that just shows you what a big club that's not won something for a while can do with a bit of dedicated and accurate dedication and ambition, and that's what Juventus are doing. I wish Manchester United would do it, but I think Jose's right what he said about Van Gaal. His signings weren't good enough, but Mourinho has kept hold of them for too long. He should have cleared the deadwood a lot quicker, and I don't know why or if he was allowed to do that, but he definitely should have. Let's talk about Daniel Adshead, because he's made the title here. Now, this is a lad who plays for Rochdale. There was a behind-closed-doors game last week between Manchester United under-23s and Rochdale, and Adshead was apparently the best player on the pitch. He's only 16. He's not 17 until September. Nicky Butt was obviously involved in that. Very impressed with him. I think Nicky Butt went to the same school as Adshead went to, or he's probably still at. Played a few games for Rochdale last season, and he played against Spurs in the FA Cup, actually. Very, very impressive, and Manchester United have been linked to him over the weekend for £1 million. Very, very brief look at him, looking at some videos of that Rochdale Spurs game and things like that. Very hard to get a gauge on what he is, but very, very well thought of. Sort of reminded me, because I remember Roy Keane as a teenager at Forest, because I used to go and watch him there, and obviously at United, but he reminded me a little bit of Keane, the way he passed the ball around and passed and moved. I mean, who knows what he'll become, but certainly looks like an exciting player, and hopefully we will get that deal over the line, because to be playing League 2 football or League 1 football, whatever league Rochdale are in, at the age of 16, and he was only just 16, is amazing. And he's not like he's got the build of Rooney either. He's not like a little tank. It looks like just a normal teenager. So for him to be holding himself against proper footballers, men, is fantastic. So I hope we do get that deal over the line, because I've been very encouraged by some of the signings United have made between the ages of like 14 and 17 over the last few years, and this would be another good one. Hopefully, obviously, it's not going to be a signing that's going to come straight into the team, but it's good that United are looking further forward, because I think that's what they need to do. And obviously, Jose probably wouldn't play him till he was about 21 anyway. Sarcasm there. Perisic, just wanted to mention him as well. Chelsea apparently looking at Perisic, looking like Willian and Hazard will leave, so they're looking at wing options. We mentioned Martial yesterday. I'm sure Chelsea would like to sign Anthony Martial. Manchester United would be stupid to sell him. Absolutely. In fact, I will go as far as to say that if Manchester United sold Martial to Chelsea and Willian came the other way, that should be instant dismissal, sackable offence. It would be beyond stupid to do something like that. But Chelsea probably are going to be looking for wide players. Sarri, their new manager, obviously knows Serie A like the back of his hand, and there is talk that they could move for Perisic. I don't know what you lot think. I sort of hinted at it at the weekend, but I would rather Manchester United spend 60 or 70 million on Perisic than spend 130 million pounds on Bale. I think you get more. I think you'd probably get more game time from Perisic. Obviously, Bale's the better player, but Perisic doesn't really have injury problems like Bale does. And also, the 60 million you'd save, you could spend on a centre-back. We could get Perisic, Sandro and Maguire for about 150 million quid. A little bit over that. But if you want Bale, Sandro and Maguire, you're talking around 250 million quid. So I would go Perisic every day of the week if he's available. Doesn't look like he is, to be honest, but if Chelsea feel that they can get in there, then I think we need to get in there as well. I'd be very happy with Perisic, Sandro and a centre-back now. I would, because you've got Fred as the midfielder. I'd be very, very happy with that summer. It's always going to be very hard for us to win the title anyway, but we've got to solve the problems. You've got to plug the holes, and it is worrying. I still believe that Sandro can happen, and I want it to happen, and I'm going to stay positive on that because I know United are going to do some business. But it would absolutely floor me if we don't sign a left-back and we think we can get away with Ashley Young. It would be right up there this summer with Fellaini. I mean, I've sort of wiped that Fellaini thing out of my head. I still can't believe we have the opportunity to get rid of him, and he's here. I mean, I think time's a great healer, isn't it? But actually, I was thinking about it yesterday. I was like, I can't believe we've still got that donkey in our team. If we then keep Ashley Young at left back, and I like Ashley Young, he's a good squad player, but he's no Premier League title winning left back. We've got big problems, and it just screams out to me with keeping Fellaini And if we go with Ashley Young at left back, it screams out to me that we are a club that's not ambitious anymore. We're happy with top 4. Because as we've seen with Juventus, they want to win a Champions League. They go out and buy top players. United want to close a top 20-point gap with Man City, keep Ashley Young at left back and retain Fellaini. That's not ambition. And that will be the message this summer if they don't go out and do something ambitious. But there's still time, and I think they will. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. Drop a like on the video, please, and give us your thoughts in relation to everything. What are you feeling about Sandro now? Do you think we'll get him, or do you think we're going to make do with the left-back situation of Young? And if so, what are your thoughts on that? Daniel Edshead, give us your thought on that. What do you think about him? Maguire, would you go Maguire or would you go Alderweireld? And Perisic, would you take Perisic over Bale? 3 big topics for you to discuss there. Get your comments in below and I'll get replying. Thanks for watching. Speak to you all soon.